I'm John Skinner, and this supplements my surfcasting book, Striper Pursuit, and you can learn more about the book at striperpursuit.com. I'll start off with a little bit of background about what's going on here. Normally I'm fishing for stripers or fluke and other things, and I never ever fish cut bait, but I was looking for something different to do, and the weather had been very warm on Long Island. The waters had warmed up, and there were some sharks and things being caught at night on cut bait, and I was just looking for something completely different to do. So I decided to fish some cut bait, and I fished for hours this particular night, and it was actually the first time I tried to do this, targeting sharks or whatever is going to hit. And so this was my first good hit, and when I set the hook, immediately there was a lot of weight, and I knew I had a substantial fish on. But I'm gaining line pretty well, so at this point I'm thinking whatever this is, I'm going to handle it on my heavier striper rod pretty easily. But as time passed, I think I realized that at this point the fish probably didn't know it was hooked yet. So I'm fishing with bluefish chunks on a standard fish finder rig. The reel is a Penn Spinfisher SSV 8500, so it's a rather large spinning reel. It's filled with 50-pound test spider wire stealth braid. Alright, so now this fish has kicked it into gear and is starting to make some runs. And, I don't have any experience catching rays, but from everything I'd heard about rays, they're going to hug the bottom or grab onto the bottom and be tough to move. And this fish never did that. This fish ran up and down the beach, made good runs. You can see that spool is spinning, and this is one of many good runs that this fish is going to take. So the day after I caught this fish, I wanted to learn more about it, so I went online and learned that butterfly rays are very well known for their fighting ability and are considered a game fish in many areas, and actually the International Game Fish Association does keep records for them. So I'm messing with the drag there because a couple of times I felt some really hard, sharp kicks to the line when the fish would run, and I don't know whether that was the fish hitting the line with the wing, but I decided just to back down just a touch at that point. But I'm still putting a lot of pressure on here, and you can only put so much pressure on 50-pound braid. This rod is quite stout. It's a Lamiglass 11-footer for people who are surfcasters and fish Lamiglass rods. This is built on a GSB 1321M blank, but it's an old one from 1990, and the specs were different back then. These rods were stiffer, so it's got a lot of power, and this fish is really testing it. Another nice run here. Besides running straight out, this fish took me up and down the beach a lot also. And you can see the moon there in the background. It's just about a full moon. So this actually turns into quite a brutal fight because I would work really hard to put line back on the reel, and then the fish would just take off again and undo all the progress that had taken me, 5 or 10 minutes to do. And this is one of those times. Off it goes. Okay, so this is about 30 minutes later. The total fight's going to end up being between 40 and 45 minutes, and I never looked at my watch. I should have looked at that in the beginning. It would have been interesting, but I was able to time it pretty well with the video. I had 23 minutes of it on video, and for quite a while, for around 20 minutes or so, I just turned everything off because I didn't want to wear my batteries down. So I'm guessing somewhere 40 to 45 minutes. All right, at this point, I'm putting a lot of pressure on that rod. I'm tired, and I don't want this fight to go on forever. Either I'm going to land this fish, or I'm going to break something. That's the way I feel at this point. So I'm really leaning on him and making some progress. All right, the fish is close now, and what I'm doing is basically grabbing onto the spool and trying to, as a wave comes, trying to like just back off and just drag that fish with the wave and try to gain some real estate. And then when the wave recedes, again, I'm cupping the spool and putting as much pressure as I dare on the rigging, trying not to lose the ground that I gained when the wave pushed it up. And several iterations of this, and I was able to make some good progress and get the fish in close. And the first time I saw a ray fin come out of the water, I was shocked because I just assumed this was going to be a shark just by the way he was up and down the beach, never hung me on the bottom. Just a fantastic fight all around. I'm just holding it now in a receding wave. I'm just holding on, letting the wave recede. And that was a good gain there because I'd gained some on the wave, gained some on the next wave, but didn't lose any. I was able to hold them, holding them again. This is where I'm getting them now. So this fish is very heavy, and there's no way I can drag it on the sand, even on the wet sand. So what I'm doing is I'm using a couple of waves to just get it a little bit higher up the beach so that I can try to at least cut the leader, get over to it, get a picture, get a look at it without being in the wash and in the waves. So I'm just trying to get a little further up the beach. So I didn't think it looked all that big in the wash until I started walking over to it and got close and could really get a decent look. And yeah, wow, yeah, pretty amazing. All right, so I definitely don't want to stress this fish any more than it's already been. So I'm real happy that it's getting hit by every wave there and staying nice and wet. And I'm going to try and take care of it in a hurry. I want to know how big this thing is. So what I'm doing is I'm using my rod to get a measurement from the end of the wing to the other end of the other wing. And so this turns out then, I went back and measured the rod with a tape measure, and it turned out to be 71 inches. So it was just 1 inch short of 6 feet wide. At this point, I have no idea what this thing might weigh. Certainly, I feel like it weighs more than I do because it's wider than I am tall. And looking up online, there was one caught in Virginia in 2007 that was 72 inches wide, And the guy kept it and weighed it, and it weighed 278 pounds. So, you know, certainly this is well over 200 pounds. So it's quite a heavy fish. All right, when you saw I was resting my foot on its nose, I was just taking a picture and had my foot in the picture for some scale. I'm cutting the wire leader, and I'm leaving a little bit of wire out. I want to leave as little rigging as possible, but I've got an idea how I'm going to maybe get this thing turned around and get it back in the water. So I was using a circle hook, which is the kind of hook that usually embeds in the corner of the mouth. There's no way I'm getting at the mouth of this thing to get the hook back, so the safest thing to do is to just cut that wire. So I left a little bit extending so that I could try and do this. I'm going to make some wraps. It's single strand wire, so I figure I can get a few wraps around my pliers, and this would give me something that I could use when a wave comes up. And here we go.
Yes! Off he goes.
So you might be able to tell I was absolutely thrilled that I was able to get such a clean release there. Alright, if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe to my channel.